Welcome to the Anisumo channel. Today you're watching a romance anime with a touch of horror. And yes, there are vampires involved. The story begins with a boy sneaking out of his house. He carefully closes the door behind him and lets out a relieved sigh. Outside, he celebrates having managed to slip away at night without his family noticing. He starts thinking that he should be asleep so he can go to school in the morning. That's when we learn that Yamori, our protagonist, is struggling with insomnia. We are taken into a flashback that shows how it all started. Yamori was asked out by a girl, but he turned her down because, as he puts it, he doesn't get how this romance stuff works. After rejecting her, he began to get bullied by his classmates. Back in the present, Yamori is walking home when he gets the idea to commit a small crime. Even though he's underage and unsupervised, he tries to buy a beer. Might not sound like much to us, but in Japan, kids drinking alcohol is taken very seriously. And that's when she shows up. Those few seconds of tension feel like an eternity until the mysterious girl reveals she's actually there to help him. Somehow, she already knows that Yamori suffers from insomnia and explains that lots of people wander through the night searching for something. And they all share one thing in common. They're not satisfied with their lives during the day. The girl casually chats with strangers and tells Yamori that the night is a completely different world. It's a time when people can be free and let go of their inhibitions. Yamori tries to follow her lead but ends up getting flustered and awkward. Eventually, she invites him to her place to help him fall asleep. He gets a bit suspicious of her intentions, and when he finds out she only has one mattress, he tries to run away. It's actually a futon, a kind of giant, soft blanket that works like a floor mattress. She stops him and, after some convincing, talks him into staying. She tells him to just close his eyes and relax, but Yamori is way too nervous, so he comes up with the brilliant idea to pretend to fall asleep, just to make her feel like she helped, and then he could sneak away later. Big mistake. Because as soon as she thinks he's asleep, she reveals her real intentions. And they're worse than he could have ever imagined. The girl gets startled for a moment. It almost seems like she realized Yamori was awake. But no. She's actually shocked by how delicious his blood is. In the end, Yamori admits he was awake the whole time, and she tries to cover it up by saying there was a huge mosquito on his neck that she had to kill. Yeah, even she doesn't buy that excuse. Yamori starts to panic, wondering if he's now a vampire. But she explains that's just movie stuff. For her, drinking blood is like eating a meal. And it'd be a nightmare if every person bitten turned into a vampire. That only happens when the human being bitten is in love with the vampire. As they talk about vampires and the differences between night and day, Yamori reflects on how much he hates going to school and how the night just feels more fun. Slowly, a dangerous idea begins to form in his mind until he asks the girl to turn him into a vampire. She gets all flustered because apparently that's basically the vampire equivalent of a marriage proposal. But Yamori is serious. He promises he'll fall in love with her. She eventually agrees, but says she won't do anything, she'll just keep feeding on him, and it's up to him to fall in love with her. That's when she formally introduces herself, and we finally learn her name, Nanukuse Nazuna. Time goes on, and Yamori keeps sneaking out at night to enjoy the city, and he's been meeting up with Nazuna more and more. One night, they're talking about vampire habits, and Nazuna explains that drinking blood isn't just about feeding. Since vampires can turn others into their kind that way, it's basically their version of copulation. Yes, she uses the exact word, and Yamori gets super embarrassed by her bluntness. It's funny because Nazuna can talk about a copulation without blinking, but gets flustered and even angry when Yamori brings up feelings like love and romance. Later, he offers his neck to her, and she yells at him for showing that in public, like it's something indecent. Another night, Yamori is wandering around as usual, but something feels off. He can't find Nazuna anywhere. He realizes they never actually agreed on a meeting spot or time. Tired of searching downtown, he decides to head back toward home, hoping to find her nearby. While walking, he realizes that even if she drinks his blood tonight, it won't matter, since he doesn't love her yet, he won't become a vampire. Right as he finishes that thought, Nazuna appears and casually greets him. Yomori's annoyed, saying he looked everywhere for her. She apologizes, saying she was out looking for a random sucker to feed on. Yamori, maybe not that mad before, now starts cursing her out, calling her shameless and promiscuous. She claps back, saying he eats both rice and bread. He reminds her she herself said drinking blood is like sex. Eventually, they stop fighting, and Yamori says he doesn't want to keep looking for her every night, so he asks for her number. Nazune takes the opportunity to ask something she's always wanted to: do you have Facebook? He says no. She replies, good, me neither. Problem is, she doesn't even have a phone. Yamori is shocked, but she remembers she has an old one at home. He can't believe that black brick is a phone, but if it works, he tells her to carry it with her so he can call her. She refuses, saying that phone is way too bulky. She bought it cause it looked cool, but newer models came out fast, so she gave up trying to keep up. Nazuna lies down, saying she's tired from walking around hunting for someone to feed on. Yamori gets a little bothered, but she invites him to lie down too. He feels anxious, unsure why. He starts thinking about what she said earlier about looking for other people to drink from. She mistakes his frustration for shyness and asks if she can bite him now. But he says no. He tells her if she's that desperate, she can go find someone else. In his thoughts, he has no idea why he just said that. Nazuna is caught off guard but apologizes. She admits she was also looking for him but was too embarrassed to say it. And besides, it'd be hard to find someone whose blood tastes as good as his. That breaks down Yomori's emotional walls, and he offers her his neck. Relieved by her confession, he finally manages to fall asleep while she's already snoring. Cut to the next scene, Yamori is once again running through the streets, searching for his favorite vampire girl. Looks like they forgot to arrange a meeting spot again. Nazuna shows up, and before another argument starts, Yamori presents the perfect solution: a walkie-talkie watch, or as he calls it, a trance watch. Nazuna gets hyped, thinking it's the coolest thing ever. But Yamori insists it's not a toy, it's a serious communication device. Though, yeah, he did buy it as a kid just to play with. She's surprised, thinking he didn't have any friends. Totally offended, Yamori says he's not some loser who can't have fun just cause he had no friends. He shares that after buying the set, he thought of hiding one for someone to find so they could talk. The plan worked, but when it came time to call, he chickened out. It's been so long that he doesn't even remember why. He just waited for the other person to call first. After hearing what might be the saddest story of all time, Nazuna cracks up, but agrees to use the trance watch. They split up to test it out. Yamori realizes he's never pushed the button before, and barely uses his phone either. He gets kind of nervous. When he finally presses it, the sound is super loud, and he doesn't say anything. Nazuna is the first to speak. Enemy spotted. Should I open fire? Over. Not yet. Wait for my signal. They burst out laughing and agree it is pretty fun to play with trance watches. Yamori says they sound like a new couple who just started dating. Nazuna is already embarrassed when he adds, I hope I fall in love with you soon. She stands up, thinking his blood tonight is gonna taste extra delicious. They fly over the city together, landing at his school, a place he hasn't been to in days. He says he's never seen it at night. She replies that nighttime changes everything. Even the school he hates during the day doesn't seem so bad at midnight. Suddenly, she leans in and bites him, catching him totally off guard. But he gets her back, calling her by her first name, which is a pretty intimate thing in Japan. Usually, people use pronouns or last names. She's shocked, but he says he needs something to call her when using the trance watch. Casually, he keeps calling her by her first name and adds, before we fall in love, let's start by being friends. Scene cuts to Yamori walking home, wondering whatever happened to the other trans watch he lost when he was a kid. Right then, his watch beeps. And to make things even weirder, a girl appears behind him, calls him by his last name, and asks what he's doing. And that's how this episode ends. Don't forget to subscribe to catch the next episode. See ya.